These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
It's a statements edition of Mackey and Judd, the OG Score North podcast here. And Judd, I guess, ironically, coincidentally, sitting in the old 1500 ESPN side studio there. And you spruced it up. I like that you put some pennants back there. You got North Stars. Is that the San Jose Sharks?
That's like an original, though. So these are not new. I didn't just go buy these and say, let's go retro. I actually brought these from home. We've got a 91, I think, Twins World Series right behind me. I think the top one is Twins in the playoffs, 91, North Stars, and then I think that is an original Sharks pennant.
Okay.
And then if you look, I'll scoot out here for a second. Look at that, all the towels.
The wild towels. Wow, dude, look at those.
And the hunt for the cup.
Those wild, Hunt for the Cup. When was that? Was Wild or what was that?
No, that's the NBA.
The NBA Cup.
Yeah. Are you kidding?
The in-season Cup.
I'm bringing the in-season Cup excitement back.
That hunt didn't last very long, did it, last year?
I'm okay with it. Can we just not have the courts look so, I don't know what they look like. I actually don't mind the cup at all. Like, I like the idea. It spices things up a little bit. Who cares, right?
I like it too.
Just the courts. I don't really like the courts.
It's funny too. People find a way to complain about everything. Like these people who are outraged. The cup, this is stupid. What were you like emotionally glued and attached to November NBA basketball so much that this is ruining your experience? Or did this draw you in a little bit and you're just being mad for the sake of being mad?
I think it was Royce who told us this. Also, when the Lakers won the original cup and they put up a banner and were mocked, right? Like, it's the Lakers, they got all these titles in the NBA. The league mandated that you fly the banner. In fact, the Lynx won, I think, the first cup in the WNBA, and they have a banner as well. Not because they're super proud of it, but because the leagues were like, if we're going to do this, let's act like it's credible.
Yeah. Wait, your mic is kind of... Oh, no. The old 1500 ESPN mic is kind of fading here. This is what happens. Now it's back. Okay.
How's that? Oh, I'm potting myself up and down. You don't know what I can do with this board now.
Pot it down a little bit more here.
Okay, hold on a second.
Dangerous that you know how to run the early 90s radio mixing board here.
That's my wheelhouse, dude. I was like 23 at the time. I bet this was installed around the time. I got something called the Z fader, which if it goes up will air commercials that are airing on the radio station. I found that out during our Bower Down Beauties crossover with JHS yesterday. I've got this whole board. I could run a St. Thomas game right now.
Well, we're actually kind of looking for some help with that. So if you could, legitimately, we might actually have to do that with you in like 2 Saturdays from now. So we'll talk to Ross Brendel off mic and see if we can.
If things don't go well, I'll pot it down. So like if the opponent's about to score a touchdown, I pot it down so the St. Thomas fans don't have to hear it.
It never happened. Yeah. Why don't you? Oh, my button bar's not working, so I'm gonna in my home studio. Wow. I just want to be able to play the Batman transition sounder for your first statement here. Hold on a second. Let's just reload this.
We are right now the Vikings offensive line.
Yeah, you come in, you think that your mic's gonna work, and you think that your button bar is gonna work, and then boom, concussion, knee injury, wrist surgery, and everything is. There we go. Okay.
There it is. It is.
Hit us with your first statement.
Okay, my first statement might not be popular, but here it is. After 2 days of consuming MLB first round playoffs, the first round of the MLB playoffs, best 2 of 3, all at one site, might be currently my favorite playoff format among MLB, NBA, NHL. Yeah. I love it. And I know I've already heard complaints. Well, they should move one of the game. Game 2 should go to the team that is the lower seed. It's not fair. First of all, no. You play the season knowing exactly why, right? So if you want home field advantage, go get it. But second of all, in this, when I was a youth, Phil Mackey, the first round of the NBA and NHL playoffs, well, actually, I think when I was a little kid, the NBA was best 2 of 3 first round. But anyway, the hockey and basketball players, for the most part, were best 3 of 5, which was cool, which was great, right? And then it's like, well, we can make more money and make it more fair by being best 4 of 7. And okay, that's fine, except for the fact that it's the first round and they drag out. Yeah. So one, I'm like, does this really need to go best 4 or 7? And second of all, it drags out so much. What we have seen of the 4 series in baseball, because the top 2 seeds in each league get a bye. What we are going to see now is, we're recording this on Thursday. 3 of the 4 series are going to a game 3. It's fantastic. And by the way, if you get bounced, and the top 2 seeds have bye. So it's not like, oh, the 1 seed got bounced. This is so unfair.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, of all baseball's faults, and we can talk about them, there's a bunch. I think this playoff format, I love it. I hope it doesn't change. I don't want more games. I don't want travel back and forth. 3 days and somebody goes home.
I'm going to add a statement to build off your statement, but we can keep talking about just the current last 2 days of the playoffs. My statement is, damn you, Twins. Because this is as fun as baseball has been in a long time. The national TV ratings have been up throughout the season. You've got more recognizable superstar players. Shohei Ohtani comes out, packed house in LA in game 1. Hunter Green, who, by the way, the Twins had a chance to take him. They took Royce Lewis. They took the shortstop instead of the pitcher. And Hunter Green, all these years later, like 8 years later, has become one of the most electrifying starting pitchers. And so those 2 guys are facing each other a couple nights ago in game 1. Shohei Ohtani goes deep. Now you get Ohtani pitching in game 1 of the following series because they closed out the Reds. So you got him. You got Aaron Judge. You got Skubal, game 1, Tigers a couple days ago, 14 strikeouts. I feel like for as wrong as baseball was about a lot of things, they're like slowly starting to get things right. And I totally agree on the wild card round. And the Twins were part of it 2 years ago. But for baseball to be kind of building here, and for you to see the excitement in these wild card rounds and these packed stadiums and the vibe and the energy, the drama, the Yankees-Red Sox series has been so much fun through the first couple games. Just vintage Red Sox-Yankees drama, get a game 3. Mm-hmm. And the Twins feel so far away from this right now. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, all right, are they going to be able to, self-inflicted budget, afford to keep their 2 best pitchers? Are they going to choose to keep their 2 best pitchers? How would they possibly rebuild a bullpen quickly enough to get back to where they were a couple years ago? And then how do you take a bunch of really talented young players that have seemingly either regressed, run into injury problems, or plateaued? So I so badly want the Twins to be back doing this. And the fact that over like 15 or 16 years at Target Field, we've only had one actual kind of playoff run. And then it's just done on like October 8th, October 7th or whatever, the second round. So I'm very conflicted watching this. I'm invested, but I'm also watching with this sort of anger about the Twins in the background of every one of these playoff games.
And 23 against the Blue Jays was this. Like this is what was so great about it. It's a packed stadium, a bunch of people that might not have gone to games, which is fine. Young people, excitement, like through the TV, you can sort of feel the energy and the vibe. But when you were there, it was 9 innings of this. Like that's what makes it so special. But I agree that before they expanded it, when it was a 1-game playoff, 1 game in baseball is probably not fair. Okay. I get that. But 2 or 3 to me is fantastic. I love it. And I love the urgency. Like that's the thing is, and for a championship series, when that starts, yes, 4 or 7 is fantastic. And it builds up and that's great. But I don't need every series to build the same. Like I don't need to be sitting there in the first round 4 of 7. I love the fact that if you lose game 1, and it's very fair, but if you lose game 1, your season is on the line. And just the urgency that creates, and also the because it's like stepping right into a game 5. So like everyone is invested from the first pitch. I just think it's great. But yes, the Twins, look, in 23, we all knew that what we were watching was special, but we thought that they would build off that, and instead they didn't, and that does suck as a sports fan.
Yeah. The word urgency that you used, for anyone that's critical of how do you take a 6-month baseball season that needs 6 months to play out, because the best teams are only winning 90 games out of 162. It's like a 9-7 or 9-8 football team. how can you boil something that takes 6 months to cook down to a 3-game series?
Right.
And I say baseball needs more urgency to get people to watch and be captivated. And so
Yes.
if you can insert a week of fun urgency with some of your top brands, the Cubs, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and create a little bit of a sweat, now you've got some people hooked going into the later rounds of the playoffs. So yeah, it's and by the way, like, it's easier to get into the playoffs than it's ever been because they're accepting more teams than they've ever accepted percentage-wise. They've even talked about expanding it more. So it's even more of a knock on teams like the Twins that have been trying to win. Like, the Twins have been trying to win and get to the playoffs the last 2 years, and they've come up this year far, far short. Last year they had a 95% chance to make it until the end, and it was one of the more epic collapses in Twins history. So yeah, baseball needs more urgency in season, and they're creating it with Wild Card Week, but they also need more urgency off season. I hope they address that with some sort of structure that has a crazy week or two of, this is when free agents are going to sign, and you need to tune in. There's going to be a left fielder that you've never heard of from the National League, but he's going to fix your team's problem, just like when Will Fries signed with the Vikings. Not that many people before free agency week had heard of Will Fries. But damn it, if you're a casual fan, for that 1 week, we're not asking you to pay attention for 4 months during the offseason, although you can on Purple Daily. But you're gonna get excited about signing a right guard to fix your team's problems, and it just creates like a spike in interest. And so, on one hand, baseball, bravo, super fun. On the other hand, Twins, figure your bleep out so you can be part of this on a more regular basis.
Unfortunately, I think to solve the dilemma that you're discussing, that we're going to lose a good portion, if not more, all of the 2027 season with a lockout. But I'll go back to, as much as it sucked to lose the 2004 and 5 hockey season to the exact same thing, they came back stronger, and they came back with a better game, and they came back with a way to engage interest in fans. So, like, if my choices are, they're going to play 2027 and it's going to just be status quo. Like, the offseason's still going to be, you got guys signing in spring training, or you're going to lose some time, but it's going to come back and they're going to have buttoned things up. I'm going with Dorby. It'll suck short term, but it'll be better long term.
What do you think are like the number 1 or number 2 things that have to change, even if it costs them a season for the long term?
They need some sort of salary cap to generate a lot of things. One is to generate competition, because the salary cap has a floor. It has a ceiling, but it has a floor. The second thing is they need to have what you just talked about. They need to create a winter filled with events that people care about. You cannot have Bryce Harper signing in March. It makes no sense. But when I say that too, I'm not talking about like a normal hard cap, like just a black and white cap. I think we're going to have, I think when it's all said and done, if it's accomplished, it's probably going to look a lot like the NBA cap, which is confusing as hell, but it helps.
Yeah. And could it be that, and they kind of do this now, there is like revenue sharing from the top teams pay in, and then the bottom teams are sort of subsidized to some extent, but could they tighten that relationship even more, create like a soft cap and a floor? And if you want to go above the soft cap, like in the NBA, the Timberwolves, for instance, were the second highest paid roster in the league. They were in the second apron. They were paying all kinds of, they paid like $100 million extra because of luxury tax and different things. But in Major League Baseball, I wonder if you could make it so, hey, if you're the Dodgers, you can go $100 million over the soft cap, but that money goes to the Rays, the Pirates, the whoever, like at the bottom of the rung, the Guardians. They just have to, they have to figure out a way to tighten it up and create some structure that leads to quicker signings of free agents. So, no.
I hate to say this, but they need a second apron.
They probably do, but make it less complicated than the NBA.
Yes, and also TV. And this is where the fight's going to start. The owners need to fight the owners. The TV needs to become centralized. You can't have the Yankees out there being Cowboys. Dodgers are Cowboys. Everybody else is trying to like make theirs.
Yeah, real quick before you get to another statement here, shout out to Green Mill Pizza. You know what baseball needs more of? Green Mill Pizza. We all need more. Yeah, you cut it into squares, Minnesota style. It's an iconic Minnesota restaurant brand, tavern-style pizza from Green Mill, available now in your kitchen, at home, via the grocery store. You can also get soft breadsticks and sausages at your local grocer. So try these things out. They're fantastic. Mackey's had one a couple weekends ago again. Learn more at greenmillfoods.com. Also, Running Aces powering the Mackey and Judd experience today and the Score North Twin Show throughout the season. So I love Running Aces. It had been a minute since I used to spend a ton of time there in my poker days. They underwent a multi-million-dollar renovation recently, and we had a chance to do a Purple Daily Unplugged event a few weeks ago. And it's awesome in there. It's not your typical casino scene. Great for sports watching. They have a wide open bar restaurant area with a 53-foot LED screen that feels like you're in the middle of a sports book, which you are.
Dude.
And it's smoke-free, bright, energy-filled. They have a ton of fun upcoming events. They've got stand-up comedy coming back in the month of October 25th. And you can find out more about tickets and all the events at runaces.com. That's runaces.com. All right, next statement. Go ahead.
All right. So my statement is this regarding the contract extension signed by Kirill Kaprizov this week. Not only isn't it too much, but it will eventually look like a good deal. And here's why. So we immediately all, and I don't blame folks, but we immediately all flash back to the dueling 13-year, $98 million contracts given to Parise and Suter in the summer of 2012. And I understand that. But first of all, this is an 8-year extension, which, by the way, kicks in next year. So he's going to make $15 million in the last year of his current contract this year, and then the contract is going to kick in next year. But here's a couple of reasons why this contract is going to work out. Okay, now on the very back end, he's 28 right now. He's going to be about 36. So year 8 might not be great, but here's what didn't happen for Parise and Suter that's going to happen now in the league. The cap is going up. If you recall, the cap was supposed to go up and it didn't. And then the pandemic hit and that was a disaster. But the cap is going up. It was $88 million last year. It's going to be $95.5 million this year. And then in the first year of the new contract for Kirill, it's going to be $104. And then it's already set for 27-28 at $113.5 million. In other words, this thing is going up. The league is doing fine now. And as long as it continues to go up, guess what? Guys are going to quickly surpass him. So Kirill is locked in starting next season at 8 times 17. So $17 million per season. But he's going to get passed by Connor McDavid. He might get passed by Jack Eichel. And as we continue to go, he's going to get passed by a ton of guys. But because the cap should continue to grow, fear not. This was one, they had to do this. There was no allowing him to walk out the door and say, that's too much, you're trading him. But second of all, the Parise and Suter contracts, first of all, were given to players who were supposed to help the Wild win a Stanley Cup, but they were not nearly as dynamic as Kirill. And second of all, with a normal salary structure and a normal cap increase, this contract is going to look in a couple of years like a very favorable contract.
So to your point about like they had to do this, to me it's kind of simple. There wasn't like a third choice here. There's make him the highest paid player in the league or don't, and then he gets to choose how he proceeds going forward, likely going to another team when his contract's up, right?
Right.
So it's not like there's this third option where you negotiate harder and you play hardball even more, and instead of $17 million a year, that's the AAV, right? $17 million a year. Right. Then you get him down to 14 because you negotiated him down. So there is no negotiation. You either pay him, so your decision is not, can we get him down a few $1 million to make it more palatable or convince him to take less money? Your decision is, do we have a better chance to win a Stanley Cup with Kirill temporarily as the highest paid player in the league, and then you got to figure out how to be creative with the rest of your cap space? Or would we have a better chance not paying a player that big of a percentage and building a more, I guess, widespread, well-rounded roster? And I don't know, I feel like in the end, there are probably examples that you could cite over the last 10 years of a team without a superstar, just a bunch of really good players, and maybe the cap hits are all kind of evened out and they make deep runs. But I would rather take my chances with one of the best players in the league still in his prime and one of the best goal scorers and then figure out the rest of the roster, because it kind of feels like that's a blueprint in the NHL. You need to have a dude or two that can put the puck in the net, and he is that. So I don't know. I think it's a no-brainer personally.
And when is the last time that allowing a superstar to walk was a good idea? Like Ant, right? Well, he wants too much, so we can't. Like, when is the last time? If nothing else, this starts with the business side. Like, if Kirill had walked or been traded, you lose season tickets, interest goes down. Now, if you rebound and make a run, that's awesome. But first of all, that ain't guaranteed, just from a building block standpoint. But the Parise and Suter contracts also fell victim to the fact that the league didn't didn't raise the cap. Like, if the cap now just stays flat, it will become a problem for a lot of teams. But caps aren't supposed to stay flat. And as of right now, the National Hockey League's doing pretty well. So this is just a contract that, fear not, this contract I think is going to look pretty damn good in a couple of years.
Yeah. Also, you could point to in last year's NHL, in terms of average annual value, you tell me if I'm getting this wrong, but in terms of average annual value, the highest paid players were largely from Toronto and Edmonton.
Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews,
Draisaitl, $14 million, right?
Correct.
And so we're talking about a Toronto team that had the second most points in the Eastern Conference, despite having a super top-heavy cap situation, and then an Edmonton team that has been hyper competitive for a number of years, also a 100-point team. So it's like, Colorado, I guess, is in here with Nathan McKinnon, and they also were, the fourth highest point total team in the league. So
and the common thread there is all of those teams retained their superstar.
100%.
So
by the way, Vegas Golden Knights, another example, second highest point total as a team, and Mitch Marner is the fifth highest cap hit in the league.
And Jack Eichel's about to get paid. So, So anyway, don't fear this contract. This contract was good business. This contract won't look terrible it doesn't look terrible. This contract won't look so prohibitive in a couple of years. And I dare you to tell me that you think it's a good idea for a superstar to walk away. I think it's bad business.
One more quick one here. Sorry, that's totally the wrong.
Wow.
That's the wrong button.
I'm on the clock.
That one is next to this button. My fat fingers here. And maybe we can talk more about this. I think we're going to do a Friday Flagrant Howls, but my statement is, I love Happy Julius Randle. Have you seen some of the clips from like media day? And then, I think yesterday he spoke to reporters because they're in training camp mode right now. And he's just like, there was that athletic story from Johnny K a week back that talked about the dark end to his Knicks tenure, where he's like depressed and sitting in a dark room and rehabbing his injuries, and the fans hate him. They want him out. I see some Knicks fans calling him, instead of Julius Randle, dubious handles. So it got really, because, once in a while he'll dribble a ball off his knee. It got really toxic, and it took him a minute to kind of get into the mix and blend with his teammates in Minnesota. And you fast forward now, he's healthy. He contributed to a Western Conference Finals team. He's like joking around with the media. He's smiling. He's one of the kind of more intimidating players in the league over the years, because he's like just not the happiest looking guy. He just kind of has this surly personality but this is the happiest I think I've ever seen him. Lakers, Knicks, and now second year with the Timberwolves. I love me some Happy Julius Randle.
I hope he remains that way. The great test is he either struggles a bit himself or a losing streak, right? Because like training camp's always great when guys are like, and this is great, this is fantastic. But I mean, he's a good player. He's a good player. The fit appeared really crappy until he got hurt. He came back and played well. But is there any reason, if you play for this team right now, I think you should be happy. It appears to be very well run right now, at least from if you're a player perspective, right? Like, unless you look around Target Center and think this is a piece of crap, I don't see a lot of complaints for players. I think it's great.
Yeah, it is. And I think Anthony Edwards is the rock of the franchise too. So there's been some times like the Knicks brought Julius Randle in several years ago, at a dark place in their franchise, and he's kind of being leaned on to maybe be more of a savior of a franchise than he is. So he gets to settle right in, doesn't have to be something he's not. And Anthony Edwards kind of runs the show here. So I don't know. It's funny to see a guy that was so sad, and that's not funny that he was sad, but like stoic and surly, joking around with the media and smiling and talking about how this is the happiest him and his family have been. They love Minnesota. They got a place out in the burbs somewhere. So
Beautiful.
Happy Julius Randle, man. Let's get it. All right. We got to run here. Mackey and Judd, the OG Score North podcast. See you guys.